friends, in this video we are going to learn about Laravel authentication. So there are two ways to work with Laravel authentication so far. One is Passport and the other one is the Sanctum. So these two are very popular, and among those, Sanctums come by default with Laravel, which is very good to work with single page applications or in fact mobile applications, which is already written in their documentation of Laravel. And Passport also you can use, which comes in very handy most of the times, but currently we are going to mainly focus on the Sanctum one. So we are going to integrate the Laravel Sanctum authentication part with our Ionic application, because this is a continuation of our Gift Shop application series. If you haven't watched the series yet, make sure you check it out. Links are there in the description. Go and watch the whole series. It's gonna be very interesting for you. Now we are going to first of all prepare the login screen, sign up screen for our Ionic application. Then we are going to integrate the Laravel Sanctum authentication part with the Ionic application. So it's time to start our video and start coding. Let's get started. So this is our application so far, where we have designed the gift home screen, the single page item screen, then the card screen also we have designed, and in fact the coupon screen is also ready. It's up and working, and we have also designed the shipping address part too, but this part is not from the backend. We have just integrated it with dummy data, but our coupons one is already integrated with the backend part. Now we are not going to work with any of these screens. In fact, we are going to work with the login and sign up screen, for which we have to create those screens. Let's do that. What am I going to do? I'll open another terminal here and we'll type the command. Let me just show you, and let's close all the screens here. Okay, Ionic G page. Within the pages folder, I'm going to create the login screen in this particular way. Just check this out. We have the home and we have the login one. Okay. Now after that, what I need to do is I want to create a sign up also within the login folder. That is why I'm just going to pass sign up at the very end here. And the rest of the command is the same like we created for the login one. So I hope you can just check it out. I'll just hit enter and you will see the sign up screen within our login one in this particular way. Alright. So this is created. Now what I'll do, I'll go to the app.route.ts file, and here let's check it out what happens for the login and sign up. This is the one, but this sign up I'm going to cut it and will pass within the children of the login one, because that's how the route is going to be. From the login only I can redirect to the sign up, nowhere else. That's why I'm going to pass it in this particular way. And in fact I'll have another route here, which is going to be the empty route. Path will be empty, because that's what for the login I'm going to pass. I have shown you earlier also, but still this component for the login one, I'm just going to move it within this, because I don't want to define another route for it, another different route file for it. So this is how we do it in the standalone one. Don't worry for the ng modules, if you are not sure how to do it, definitely I'm going to show you at the very end of this series to convert this whole project into the ng modules approach. Okay, so don't need to worry about anything. But for the time being, you can continue with this particular one only. Okay, so once this is done, what I'll do here, I'll change the URL, and from home, what I'll do, I'll just move this to login in this particular way. So this is our login screen, which is empty as of now. I'll just remove it and go to the login HTML here. Now in this login HTML, we just need to work with the ion content. I don't need any header here. So ion content full screen is great to work with. Let me remove all the unnecessary stuff. Alright. Now what am I going to do? I will have an ion card within my ion content, within which I'm going to have all the items. Now within the ion card, I need to pass the logo here, and I'll pass a div. Align it to center, and within that I will have an img tag where src will be assets imgs/logo.png. Now this logo.png, I already have it in my, okay, it is not showing here. Why? Let me refresh it. Okay, now it is showing. So I just copied and pasted it. This is the logo that we have here. Okay, so this is just a simple logo which I given for Gift Shop application, and this was our avatar. That's great. You can have for the man avatar also, or just a different avatar. I have just given it for the design purpose. Alright, once this is done, I'll move to the next one. And in the next one, I will have a form within our Ion card, which will actually hold a form group in which I'm going to pass form, which I need to declare here. Alright, we have Ionic module, forms module, and common module, which I don't want. So I think in the latest version, because Ionic 8 and Capacitor 6 is also launched, don't worry, there are not much of a change. At the end of this video, we are going to convert this whole project into the Ionic 8 version. Well, the version is not changed in Ionic 8, the Ionic CLI version is the same. So don't need to worry about anything, you can still work with it pretty nicely. Okay, so we'll check each and everything, whatever is needed. Now here, I need reactive forms to be imported. Alright, once I do that up, what else is wrong here? No, nothing. It happens sometimes. Okay, this form I have not declared. Let's do it. Form exclamation so that it is not empty or something. Then form group, hit enter. Once that is done, we are good to go. There is another thing which you can use for grouping it up. Let me just show you first. We are going to create the init form here function for initializing our form. You can give any name you want, where this dot form will be equals to new form group. So instead of form group, you can also pass form builder here, which is mainly used for complex initialization of a form, but here it is pretty simple, so I will use form group here. Like somewhere you need some array within this form which will be dynamic, so in that particular scenario you need to pass, or you need to work with form builder, which will be good enough to work with instead of the form group. And there is hardly any change within the syntax, little bit of change, but it's going to work pretty smoothly for you. In some other videos I'm going to cover that up, don't need to worry. For the time being, let's pass email here for our credentials, where it will be equals to new form control, in which I'll pass the initial value, let's call it null, or you can give empty colons. And validators, not in this way, there should be a braces, validators colon bracket validators dot required, because this is a required field, so we need to pass it. And if you want to pass something else like validators dot email, since this has to be an email, you can pass that. And in fact, you can pass some pattern also if you want to, but I don't want to do that for the time being. Let's focus on this part now. Okay, so this is done. Similarly, what I'll do, I'll copy it and paste it for another one, which is going to be our password. But here I don't want any email, but instead I want min length. So minimum length of the password should be of 8 characters long. That's what I'm just fixing it up. Otherwise you will get an error. Alright, so this initialization of the form is done. I'm simply going to call it in constructor or in ng unit, wherever you want you can call it. I'll call it within the constructor. Alright, that's fine. Once that is done, let's go to our home screen and work with that. Also, let me change app.route.ts file. I will go and change the default route. Okay, here this is home, default it is home. I don't want home. Let me pass login here. Okay, so that it gets redirected to the login one, and I'll move it at the top so that I can check it properly. Fine, I think this is okay now. Let's change it once, or I will remove. Just remove everything, just pass localhost 8100, hit enter, and you are getting redirected to the login screen. Let's go to the HTML part now, and within this form, what we are going to do, let me work with Ion input here. Now within this ion input, I'll pass a label which will be an empty one. I don't want to work with the label one. We'll just pass the placeholder here. And the color of the ion input I'll pass primary, which is basically for the border color that we gave, but it doesn't work most of the time. Still I'm passing it. And very important is the placeholder here, which we need. I'm just going to name it as email address, or email is also fine, but I am good with email address. Then the most important one, form control name, which will integrate this with our form initialization. So the name should be email here. Okay, this name should match the name that we have passed in the init form function, where let me just show you, this particular name should be the same. Okay, if it doesn't match with the names that you have passed here, then it's going to throw an error or the value will not be taken. Remember that. Also, we are going to pass error text. When the mandatory field you have not provided, you must get an error. This is the field to get the error directly with red color one, which is error text, where I'm simply going to pass, please, or requesting, man, your email address. Okay, this is done. All right, this is coming up. That's in fact fine. I want some margin or padding, right? For that, what I'll do is I'll pass a class ion margin horizontal. That's gonna be fine, I think. All right, it's good. I'm happy with that. Now similarly, I'm just going to copy it and have another input tag here. Okay, now this time the placeholder will be password, and form control name will also be password, but in small letter, like the way we have given in init form. And this error text is something interesting which we are going to work with. Well, I think this ion margin horizontal, I should not pass it here. Instead, what I'll do is I'll pass it to the form itself, so that it goes for both the inputs, right? Not for only one. Now I think it's gonna be better. And let me remove this class also. Okay, not needed. Now it's fine. Both of them are okay. I'm just going to give another class here actually, because I want some margin bottom, right? So ion margin bottom will be good for us. Okay, now it's fine. All right. So what do we need to do now? I need to pass actually an icon also, which will look nice. So within the ion input, what I'll do here is I'll pass an ion icon here. The slot of it to be passed at start. Okay. Now in the latest versions, in 7 also and in 8 also, we can work with this ion icon slot start directly within the ion input, so that we don't need the ion item anywhere here. Okay. Now the name will be person outline. So I'm giving person here instead of email, so that it defines that this is the user ID or something, not directly the email address. If you have phone number also, you can just work with the person one. I feel this is fine. If you want to change it, definitely you can. And the color I'm going to pass is dark color. Okay, it's better, a little bit more darker, which is great. And here what am I going to do? I'm just going to copy it and will pass it here also. Okay, but the name will be changed to key. All right, I think it's fine. Or if you don't want the key one, you can in fact pass one more called lock closed. And why this all is coming up, let's check it out. Have I defined it in the app.component.ts file here? Okay, key outline, key sharp. I'm already using that. That is why it is coming up. So lock closed outline is the one I need to use. Now this is working. Great. Let's go to the HTML once again, and we are ready here. But one more thing I want, which is the toggling of the password one, which we can do with the help of another one here called ion password toggle. Now this particular one is not getting imported automatically, so I need to go to the login one and do it manually. So here, let me pass ion password toggle, and this is not coming up, which is not in fact good. So if you are working with the Ionic 7, then this will not work. I think with Ionic 8 it's going to work. Let me see the documentation here. So this is the documentation where version 8 is being shown, and let me just show you the components one here. Well, I'm not sure, the website is a little down maybe because I opened up another thing and it's working properly. So Ionic CLI version is not changed. Let me just explain you that it was published 4 months ago, so it is not changed. That means you don't need to make a lot of changes. Instead, you just need to run few commands to install the latest package where there is nothing at all is changed. What you need to do is you need to run few commands for reinstalling your Ionic CLI, and let me just show you here. These are the 3 commands. First of all, run this one. I think this one, even if you don't run, still it might work, or the second one maybe. But anyways, you just run these 3 commands. First of all, uninstall the Ionic CLI, Ionic from your system. Then install the latest one in this particular way and you're good to go. I think that there are 2 commands that are required in the documentation. It is already shown, but since it is not opening right now, I can't share with you. But where you can watch it in the docs is not opening. Anyways, let's leave that. So basically, if you run these 3 commands also, still it's fine for reinstalling it up. Okay, these 3 commands, that's it. Once you do that up, you have to create a new project because upgrading sometimes creates a problem. So what am I going to do is I will create a new project because I have already run that, and in fact now I'll create. So if I show you my Ionic version here, it's going to be the same 7.2.0, and this is already updated with the latest one. And even I think if you create a new project, still you will get the latest version, but still for precaution purpose, it's better to reinstall everything. Now I'm going to run Ionic start gift shop app within my location. I'm just having that, okay, and the project will be a blank one. I'll select the Angular framework along with the standalone one. Okay, now let's check it out. Once it is created, we are going to shift all the code to the latest one and install all the stuff that was needed, and then we can get started along. Okay, the project is created. Let me hit no and we are good to go. I'll get inside the project folder and hit code plus space dot and hit enter. It will open up in Visual Studio Code here. Alright, so just check the stuff here. Okay, let me just show you. Let's match it up at first. What is the difference in the file structure? Let's check it out. So here we have .angular.vs code for the VS code which we are using. Here we have .nx. Okay, and in the Angular one, what did we had? Angular Webpack. Now we don't have the Webpack here. We have the Darwin ARM. Okay, fine. So there are little changes with the Angular Webpack here. It's not available anymore. So basically with the Angular latest version, they have integrated all the stuff. So let's check the package.json file, which is going to be pretty interesting here. Okay, let's check it out. What are the changes here? Okay, let's just start it from here. We have, well, the Angular versions are same here, correct? The Angular CLI, what are the changes? I don't see. Apart from the Capacitor versions, I don't see any other changes here, right? In the versions. Okay, Ionic Angular version is changed. Here we had 7.5.0, but now we have version 8. So that is why this is Ionic 8. Okay, great. Now rest is the same. Great. So there are not much of a difference between Ionic 7 and Ionic 8. You can use the same stuff. I'm going to show you the same thing here. Some legacy data that was there earlier, it is removed to some extent, but still you can directly work with all the things here. Now what we are going to do is, let me open this whole stuff into the Finder. There we go. And I'm going to copy the assets and the F folder, not exactly the F folder. What I'll do is, within the app, let me copy these 3 files along with the route component.ts. Actually all the files only I have to copy. So F folder I'll completely copy and have it in the newer one, because in the newer one, as of now, what do we have within the app? We have the home, and there is one more change actually in the TS file. Mostly these are coming up, but every file that you create or every page that you create, you are going to see all the things, not Ionic module anymore with the standalone project. And there is one major change here with the themes one. Let me just explain you that, then only we are going to move ahead. So in the variables.scss, we don't have anything. Just check it out. Nothing is available here. Why is that so? Because in the global.scss, they have imported, just check this out, few things here. These are the three things that are available. By default, the light color is available where it is predefined. The CSS that we had earlier for the root and everything, that was predefined now. And for the dark mode, if you want, these are the files. If you just go inside this file, just check this out. This is how it is being defined. So earlier we had the dark mode that was defined within the variables.scss file. Now we don't need to do that if we don't want to change the design of it. Default design, if you want to use, just keep it in this particular way. If you want to change that, you can directly go there and pass the designs as per your requirement in the variables.scss file like earlier one. There is one major change here. I'll show you in angular.json file. In the angular.json file, just check this out. Earlier, variables.scss file was presented earlier before the global.scss, but this is shifted now. Let me just show you here in the earlier version. I'll go to angular.json file and okay, it is the same, I think. In the Angular it is changed or what? I don't remember. Maybe I thought there was a change. No, I think it's not changed here, but yeah, I think it was changed. It was written in documentation, and in fact I saw it in the earlier version maybe. But anyways, now global.scss will be called first. That's a massive thing which we need to look into. So yes, what I need to do here is I need to copy the code, right? Let's get that done. So this is our earlier code, and I'm going to open the newer code also within the Finder. This is the one. This is a new code. I'm just copying the app folder at first. So let's do that. And I'm going to replace it. This is replaced now. What we have within the assets one, let's check it out here. In the assets one, we only have the icon one. So what am I going to do? Let's copy the imgs and gift one. And let me paste it here. This is done. Then the global.scss, I'm not going to touch it. I will directly use it from here itself. Rest of the things, let's do it one by one only. So let's close all these things because the major part we have already covered up now. Okay, if you're getting confused, let me just show you in this particular way. Just shorten it up a bit. Okay, this is 7, this is 8. Hope it's clear. Now I'll directly go to the capacitor.config.ts file. We haven't made any changes yet, so it's good. Where have we made the changes? Let's check it out. In the main.ts file, we do have made some changes. Let's check it out here. What do we need to add in the, where are you? I can't find you. Okay, there we go. There it is. So I need to add HTTP client, provide HTTP client at first for the standalone project. Let's do it here. Along with that, I also need to have decimal pipe to be imported. So I'll pass it here once again, and let's add it. This one also I'm going to import it from at angular/common/http. So this is done. The imports are done, and I think we are good to go. Nothing else we need to do here. Great. What else we need to check? Global.scss. So in the global.scss, there is something in the latest version, or it was there earlier, which I actually forgot to pass. What we can do here is, if we need to change the font family, there is a direct thing, --in font family was there. So that might also work instead of passing directly the font family. So it will apply the changes automatically. Let's try this up. And in fact, the badge also I'm going to pass. Let me copy it. And let's go to our SCSS, global.scss. I'm going to paste it here. Okay. Once that is done, what else we need to do? In the variables.scss, we have made the changes in the root one because our theme is changed, right? So I'll simply copy this whole thing. In the dark one, we haven't made any changes yet, so let's keep it in that way. I'm going to go to variables.scss and we'll paste it here, the root one. Okay, so this is also done. Nothing else we need to do here. So the next thing which we are going to look into is the environment.ts file. So let me copy this thing. In fact, I could have copied the whole folder also because it's going to be the same stuff only. Let's go here and let me replace it. Okay, and I'm going to do the same. Let's copy these two URLs only. We'll pass it in the production.ts file also. Okay, this is ready now. Nothing else I think I need to do. Let's check it out in the index.html file. Have we made any changes there? I don't think so, but still it's good to check everything. I don't see any changes, so I have applied. This is the basic HTML part, and here we can change the name actually. Gift Shop App, which will show into the header part. I'll show you where it is. Don't need to worry. Okay, nothing else I think. Everything is good to go as so far. We don't need to make any other changes here. Great. We have copied everything. Just need to install few plugins, or not plugins actually, plugins only. So which are the plugins which we need to install? Let's check it out here in the package.json file. I think the preferences one we need to go for, right? So preferences we have here. Do we have that by default here? I don't think so. No, we don't have the preferences here. So let me install it. So open the terminal here, and in the terminal npm I for install at capacitor /preferences, and I'm going to hit enter. It's going to install it, and it will install the latest version 6.0.0. As of now it is the latest version, and earlier we had 5.0.7. So now I'm going to close this Ionic 7 one. It's closed. Close this one also, and let's just work with the latest version, that is Ionic 8. And here, okay, let's check it out. Now it is opening up. That's great. In fact, so this is version 8 where we have the password. If I just check it, password, there we go. This is the one, password toggle. So what it does is, well, it's still slow. I don't know. It will take some time, but anyways, how to install the Ionic CLI? Well, these two commands you need to run to install the Ionic CLI, or to reinstall it. Basically, you need to do that, then you are good to go. But here some major steps are not shown. How to like add the Android Studio properly. I think developing for Android, again it's going to be a little slower. So somewhere or the other you need to like look into the Ionic 7 version documentation for having the proper data, or for proper steps which are not shown here. I think that would be better. Anyways, I'm not going in depth of it for the time being, so I'll just move ahead. Well, this is not opening, so I'll just show you the execution of it. Let's minimize it. Okay, and let's work on the execution part. So simply I'm going to run Ionic serve here, because I don't think I'll get any error. Let's check it out whether actually we don't get, or let's see. All right, actually I got an error. And what is this error? Okay, I didn't pass the app.route.ts file. Did I do that? Actually I did. Where this error is coming from, let's check it out. Let's check here. Okay, it's not getting redirected. Why? Because there is an error showing here in the ion password toggle, which I need to fix. But why it is showing here, I just don't get it. Well, the problem is rectified. Basically it was not ion password toggle, it was ion input password toggle. That was the error we were getting. And how I came to know? Well, finally the website has opened up, and this is the one, ion password toggle. But here, if you just check it out, it is written ion input password toggle. So that is how you need to pass it, and the slot and also I need to integrate, because I can't see in the design so far. So let's get here in our login HTML. Here also I've changed ion input toggle password, and slot will be end. Once I do that up, let's minimize it and check it out whether do we get the design or not. There we go, it is showing up. Now if I pass here anything, which will not work because I have not given type to be password, I think. Yeah, I have not given the type. Where it is, type will be password. Okay, so once I do that up, let's go for it, and this is going to work. If I don't pass any type also, let's see what happens. It was showing pretty nicely. So now if I type something, just check it out. It is, if I just click on it, it's still works. Okay. So by default, it was text. Okay. So earlier I have done this without even using this tag, because it was not available earlier. With latest Ionic version 8, it is being launched. So in the earlier versions, I have shown in the auth screens which I have made, there are 10 auth screens which will include the login and sign up screen. You can just check the playlist if you want to learn without this also how you can have this, the toggling one. Okay. Now this is pretty clear, and it makes our work easier to work with this toggle button, which is in fact great to work with, right? For password purpose only. And now I think our form is almost done. Do we need to add anything? Yes, we do actually. We need a button. We need a forgot password one. Let's work on that. Let me pass few things little rapidly here, which will include our forgot password, not button, yeah, button only. And it will be passed within a div where I'll pass iron margin bottom, because I want some margin at the bottom part, and a class of forgot password, which I am going to use it in the SCSS. Okay. So far we have everything as of now, right? And the button size, I've given it a small because that works pretty good for us. Okay. And the color is primary here. I don't want a bigger button in this case. Now the next thing which I'm going to work with is an iron button, okay, for login. So this is going to be our button. The text is imported, iron text, where I'll pass expand to be block, size of large, and a class of iron padding, and in fact a user defined class also, which I'm going to work with, which is known as login button. Here you can give any name you want. Shape is round, strong. The text which is present here will be bold. That's the meaning of strong. And a click function is being passed called on submit. You can give any name. Let me define it, otherwise I'll get this error here. Let's format our document so that we can see each and everything very nicely. Now this on submit function, I'll just keep it as it is, and we can see the button now. Great. So the button is showing up. That's in fact good. Nothing else I think we need to do here, or we do need to do something, and that is related to the sign up part. Now after this form, what am I going to do? I'll have another div here which I'm going to align to the center, okay, and have a class of iron padding bottom. So this is how it's going to be prepared. Iron padding bottom, I need some space at the bottom part, and a user defined class called signup, which I'm going to work with in the SCSS so that we can align it properly, because there are a lot of spaces which are not good. From the design perspective, do you think this is good? I don't think so, right? We need to fix it up because I'm using a button here. For the text, I'm using an iron text here where I'm passing don't have an account. Then I'm using a button here. So this button is very handy because if I click on it, it's going to react, right? That's why I'm having this button, and I've given a router link of sign up here. But here it is not redirecting to sign up because this router link I have not imported, and I will get an error because of that. Let me just show you. Not getting an error, but it's not going to work. So let's fix it one by one. Let's fix up the designing part at first, okay? Because these things I think you are able to grab it. It's not very tough. I have done it many times. Let's format the document, and we are good to go with the CSS part. Let's go to it and work with it. Now first thing first, I will do what? I'll work with the iron content here, and I'm going to pass a background which will be a gradient one. So this is the background which I'm going to pass a linear gradient one. From top to bottom, it's going to change the color from secondary to primary. That's how it's going to work, which is looking great. Then, well, I'm going to work with the iron card here, to which I'm going to transform it in Y direction. By let's say 20% will be good. Okay, yeah, it's fine because we will have a lot more alignment and a lot more spacing here. So it's going to be fine. Then border radius, do you think border radius is good? I don't want any border radius, so I'll just give 0, border radius to be 0, that's fine. And then for the logo one, I'm going to redesign it. So div logo is a predefined class which I have applied to the div which we used earlier, or I didn't do it. Let's define it, class logo. Okay, there we go. It's applied now. So to this particular class, what have we done? We have passed some margin so that it is applicable for, if you tilt it also in some other direction, still the size will be proper for the logo. And the image height, I have fixed it to 3 rem. Okay, that's fine. Now what's the next step which I'm going to look for is to work with the ion input here. So in the ion input, I'm going to pass the font size to be 1 rem, fixing it up, and icon size of 1.2 rem because it was quite small. I don't want it that small, right? So now it is much more appropriate. Okay, by passing this margin here, it is looking pretty good. So the margin will play its role and the height will play its role. If you don't pass this, it's not looking that great, right? Just check it out. So it is quite congested, which I don't want. Now it's fine. It's quite opened up. Alright, the next one is the forgot password, which I need to fix. Little bit fix is required, which is just a margin top of 0.5 rem will be good for us to work with. Finally, I'm going to work with the login button because I need to pass a gradient color here. Along with that, I need to change the text font size also. So I'm just going to pass the same gradient color, but this time from left to right. Primary to secondary color will be passed here. Along with that, font size will be 1.2 rem. Okay, so once that is done, I think we are good to go with this design part. Just this part is left. Let's fix that also. And how will that be fixed? Well, within the ion card only, we have a div where we have the user defined class called signup, in which the ion text font size will be 0.8 rem will be good, and I'm going to align it vertically at the middle part. So vertical align. The normal middle one will not work. If you just try it, it's not gonna work. So WebKit baseline middle will work for us. Okay, now it is milled up properly. Now we need to remove this spacing here, right? For that, I'm going to work with the ion button within this class and will pass padding start to be 0. If I do that up, you will see it is coming quite nearer, which is great in fact. Also, if you just check it out, we have I think little margin also available maybe. If I remove it, it is coming more closer. So now it is proper, I think. Alright, now finally, on all the ion buttons, I don't want any text transformation. So whatever I have passed, it should be in the same way. If you are working with the iOS also, the Android one also, the design should look same. Okay, this part, for the button, basically what happens for the Android one, the text becomes capitalized, which I don't want. Okay, that is why I've done that, and I think it's properly okay for everything. Great. Let me just check it out, anything is left out or not. And here for the email one, I have not passed any type. It's going to be of type email here. Anything else I need to work with? The design part is pretty okay. Well, one thing I need to work with basically, but I think it should be better if I show it to you while doing the authentication part. First of all, let's finish up the designing part. Let's move on to the sign up one and finish it up. So for that, I need to go to the login TS file and import the router link. Okay, in this particular way. Now if I click here on the sign up one, it's going to redirect me to the sign up page. And let's move on to the sign up one here. Now for the sign up one also, what I'm going to do, don't worry, I just copied it. That is why this Ionic module and all others showing up. Otherwise in the latest version, it won't show up. So let's remove it, and what I need to do here is I will simply work with ion content, same stuff only. Okay, I'm just going to change a little bit. Again, this header and toolbar are imported. As soon as we hover on something, it gets imported, but I'll remove it. Now it's fine. So here also I'm going to have the div for the logo part. Then I'm going to have a form group here. Okay, so this form group is passed, but I need to initialize the form once again. Let's go to the signup TS file, and in fact I'm going to pass here form also, same way we have done earlier for the login one. Import it. Alright, we need reactive forms module. Great. Now I'll have the init form function, okay, where just the phone number and name is added, rest is the same, email and password are the same. And in the phone number, well, I have just given minimum length of like 10 characters, means 10 digit number you can pass, and maximum length also of 10 digit number. Required one is already there. For the name, only required field is needed. But here for the email one, you can pass validators dot email also, like we did in the login one. Fine, I think we are good to go. Let me pass once again into the constructor here. This function is initialized. After that is done, what we need to do, well, I'm still not in the sign up. This is the sign up one. I need to pass the form here, prepare the form, proper form like we did earlier. But this time I'm going to use ion list here. Okay, since we are not using any card or something, so list will be a proper way. Now here I'll have an ion list header where I'm going to just say that this is a sign up one. Label is there. This is the label which I'm passing. And I'm just giving some margin bottom so that we have some space at the bottom part. After this, we are going to initiate our form. So the email and password which we did earlier, let's copy that up. Let me copy this too. Copy up till here. Okay. And go to sign up HTML. I'm going to paste it here. Alright. Import each and everything. This is not getting imported. We need to pass it once again manually. Okay, I'm coming, I'm passing it, don't need to worry. Ion input password toggle. There we go. It's working now. So this is done. There we go. We can see this too. Now I'm going to simply copy the email one, and also I will change this time to mail outline, because this is the sign up one where I don't want to pass it pass a person outline. In fact, I am going to pass it in the name one. So this is going to be text, and this is going to be name. This will also be name. And finally, please enter your name, that error you're going to get it. Alright, I think we are good to go. Let's check it out by going to the sign up one. There we go. Name, email, password. I need one more for the phone number. So for the phone number, I'm going to pass it after the email. Let me do it here. This will be for the phone number, in which I am passing iron margin bottom, and label is empty. Then type is tel, which is the telephone number kind of a thing. It will come up. The keyboard, that's how the design is going to come up. And the color is primary. This is very important, which I've given because I want to fix it to min length of 10 digit number and max length of 10 digit. Otherwise, if I just pass type of number, it's not going to take that. That is why I've given it as tel. My form control name is phone, and this is the error which I'm just passing for all kinds of errors. Okay, and I think I have not shown you the error for password one, right? I didn't change it. Okay, I just forgot that part. Let me just show you that. Alright, in the password one, I think I need to change it. So what I'll do is, let me remove it. I'll pass some dynamic data, and I'm going to use here form.get. That's how we get the value of form of a particular input, like the password. We want to get the value. Dot has error. That's how I'm going to track it down. So a question mark is coming automatically, and if it has some error of, let's say, min length, okay, then what's going to be my message? Then my message will be different. Otherwise, if it is a required field, then my message will be something else. So now this is the message which you will get when there is a min length error. Password must be at least 8 characters long. Otherwise, please enter your password. That's going to be the error that you are going to receive. Okay, so this is how you change it. All right, I hope you're getting it. Now we are going to do the same if required into our sign up one. Let's check it out. So where is the password one here? This is the one. This error text, I'm going to have the same one that we did for the login one. There we go. And it is showing me an error because I think I have not imported the ion input. Sometimes it happens that ion input is not imported automatically. So we need to do it manually. And I'll just paste it here. Okay. And format it so that we can see everything pretty clearly. Now I think the error will go away. Right. There you go. Great. So this is working now. if I go to sign up, I'll see name, email address, phone and password. All of them are working here, but the icons I need to work with. One I need call outline and mail outline I need. So will go to app.component.ts file. So I'll go to app.component.ts file, and here at the bottom one, in the add icons one, I'll pass mail outline along with call outline. All of them are imported properly. Great. We can see the icons present here. So this is working now. In the next part, I will have a button here. So let me just pass the button, and I'm going to do it after this form here. I'm going to pass this iron button where expand will be block, size will be large, and a class of iron padding. I'm just giving some padding on all directions, and a user defined class I have passed sign up button like the way we did for our login button, and shape is round, strong, click event was required. So I need to have a function here called onSubmit to get rid of the error for the time being. Okay, this is done. Great. So this is showing up. Now it's time to work with the CSS part. Let's go here. At first, let me fix this logo here. So for the logo, I'm just going to pass the same thing only, but along with the background color, that is the primary color which I'm passing, because it is taking, so this much is the margin and the height is 3 rem, so it will take necessary width also. Let me just show you. If I just click on it, just check this out. This is the padding that is being applied. So I've applied a padding of 7 VH, and how that is being done? By passing it here. Okay, so the image I have passed the padding, and I fixed the height a little bit bigger than the one of the div because it was not taking the full weight. If I just pass 3 rem, just check it out, there was a line there which I don't want. So in order to remove that line, I'm just making the height a little bit bigger of the image one, and it is working with that. So just to fix, if you have another better fix, let me know in the comment section. Once this is done, what's the next step? Well, I'll work with this iron header here, iron list header, to which I will work with the iron label and fix the font size along with the weight of bold. The next thing is the iron inputs, passing a border to each one of those, which will look in fact great, and radius of border radius of 10 pixel will be fine, along with a font size of 1 rem like we did for the login one, the same font size, and in fact for the icon one also the same font size. The difference is the border and border radius I have passed to make it look good. And this line is coming up because we have passed error text. If you remove error text, this line will not show up. So it actually the error will show up below this line. That is why it will look good. And in fact, the design part is, I think I'm happy with the design part. The next thing is the sign up button, where I'll have again the linear gradient color here. Okay, the size and margin top I have just passed. Size to the iron text and margin top to this particular button. Okay, so now it is properly aligned. And if you check it for the Android device here, let's check it out. Well, there is no change here. Okay, so I think it's gonna be fine. Great. In fact, we can check it. If I just remove this particular one, I don't think it will be any problem if I go to login and work with that. But how to go to login? We don't have any option here, right? So let me just skip it, and let's go to the sign up one and fix this issue. How we are going to fix this issue now? I will go to sign up and content, and below that I'm going to have a button here which will be used for the back button. So I'll use here an iron fab button, basically iron fab, where in which I'm going to fix this slot so that it stays at the particular position and it won't change. Whether I scroll or something, it's not going to change. Okay, that's the meaning of slot to be fixed. Don't worry, I'm going to fix the error now. Let me have a function called back, then the error will go away. Back function. Okay, because I have defined this function here on the click event of this particular button. So this button will have an icon of arrow back, which I don't have as of now. So I need to go to app.component to define it up. So here at the bottom, let me pass it here, arrow back, and import it. Alright, this is imported and we can see this button here, right? So I don't want actually the IonFab button. That is why I'm just fixing it with the help of IonFab and passing an normal ion button here, okay? Because I want this kind of a design only, not the circular design. That is why the IonFab button is not of much of a use in our case so far. That is why I've done this. Now if I click here, I can go to the back, navigate back. But instead of doing this, well, I can do one more thing. Instead of passing the back function, what can I do is I'll go for router link, okay, where I'll pass /login. All right. And if I just go here, let's check it out. If I pass here router link, import router link, import it. Okay. Now if I click here, all right, that was the problem. So just check it out. It is going to the forward direction, right? And if I click on this, it is again going to the forward direction. So I need to change the direction, which I can do that by passing here. Where am I? Router direction. And I'm going to pass here backward. I think that's how it's going to work. Let's check it out. By default, it is forward. Let me go there, and if I click on back, no, it is not working yet, I think. No. Well, I think I need to import this one also. Let's try it. If I import it, I think it's going to work. Let's router direction, but it's not coming up. Well, there is nothing as such. What if I pass router module instead of router link? Will it work? Let's try it. Okay, I'll just click here. Click on the back one, still it's not working. So this is not the problem, and I'm going to just keep it as it was earlier. Well, I think the name is wrong. It should be only back, not backward. If I just click now and go back. Alright, so by using this router link here, I'm not happy with the navigation because it's going forward. That's what it seems. If you are happy with that, you can keep it. Otherwise, what you can do is, like we had earlier, I'm going to use the click button, and we'll remove this router link from here. We'll have this back button in which I'm going to pass nefctrl.back function. This one I need to get it from the nef controller. So let's inject it. Private nefctrl equals to inject function will be used for injecting it up. I'm not going to pass it in the constructor. That's the latest way of doing it. And I'm going to use the same here. I copy it, we'll pass it into the imports here directly for Ionic, at Ionic/Angular/standalone, and it's going to work for us. So if I get to sign up, click on back, it is perfectly working for us. Okay, that's what I need, and I'm happy with that. But along with that, if you want some text here like we did for our sign up one in the login page, like this one, we can work with that also. Let's work with that. This time I'm going to work with the ion footer. Okay, so let me just scroll down. I'll have here an ion footer where I'll pass no border. I don't want any border, and I want a div in which the same way which we did earlier for this particular one in our login one, I have done the same part here. Okay, the same button, just the text is changed, and if you click on it, you will get back once again. Now we just need to align it with the help of the SCSS, and we are good to go. Now this time the class that I have passed here is called what? Login. So let's work on that. This will be my login class where I'll pass the same stuff which we did earlier for our sign up one. And there you go. You can see this is working. If I click here, I can get back once again. It's working nicely, and this is the design, final design which we have here. I hope you're liking it. Now one more thing I wanted to show you. If I remove it up in the login one, let's check it out for the different device. What do we get? I don't think there will be any change because we are passing it within the ion text, and it's not going to change. There you go. I'm happy with the design part. Okay, it changed actually. For this particular button it changed, so I don't want that. That is why I think I should do it here. Let me undo it, and this particular one cut and simply paste it here so that it doesn't get changed when I'm transforming to an Android device. Let's check it once again. This time there is no change. Okay, not selected only. So now there is no change at all, which is good. Great. And I'm going to apply the same copy, and in the sign up one also, in this particular one, I'm just going to pass it. Okay. So this is ready. Our login and sign up screens are ready. We just need to work with the functionality of it now. Alright, we have completed the designing part. We have designed the login and sign up screen. Alright, we have completed the designing part. It's time to work with the APIs for the authentication purpose. For that, I'm going to move to our Laravel project. This is our Laravel project here, in which I need to have another controller for our user. Because in the user one, we have already done all the things. We have our has API tokens ready. Because for the Sanctum one, if you remember, we have already done these things. I'll show you the documentation of it. So this is the documentation of Sanctum, in which it is already installed by default. I have already explained that part. Then we have already run this command for installation of the API.php file. To get the API.php file, we have to run this command. Okay. Then for overriding default models, I don't want to work with that, so I'll just skip it. You can check the documentation if you want to. Now, how to issue the API tokens? Let's just check it out. This has API tokens is necessary, which we have already passed into our project in the user one. Then what else do you need to do? This is how the token will be created. Okay, create token function, and then we need to pass the plain text token in the response. We are going to work with that now. Okay, along with that, there is something called token abilities. While creating, you can pass something to differentiate between what kind of token you are passing, or to check with the help of this particular stuff that token can. So this token can update the server. That's what it means basically. So some functionalities you can pass in this particular way, but we are not going to look into this one also for the time being. And this is something, another thing, token ability middleware. So some middlewares also you can pass. There are two options, abilities and ability. Single ability and multiple abilities you can pass with the help of these classes. You have to pass it in bootstrap/app.php. You have to pass your classes there. These are predefined ones. Okay. Then this is how you can pass the middlewares for this particular ability one, which we are not going to look into again, because these are something little complex, which will take for you some time to understand, and we are mainly focusing on the basic part as of now. That is why we are going to mainly work with the protecting of the routes. So in protecting routes, this is how we are going to pass the middleware for the Sanctum one. Okay, and after doing so, we will look into lots of stuff, but token expiration is also very important for you to understand. There are two ways. One is directly passing the expiration equals to this particular in seconds. If you just check this out, I think in the app.php file, in the config one, you have to pass it mostly. Let's check it out here. I will go to app.php or from the config one and search here for the expiration, which I didn't get. So this is mainly passed in the application Sanctum config file, I think, which we have somewhere here. This is the one. So this is a Sanctum config file where you have the expiration minutes. Okay, it is null by default. So what you can do, either you can pass it here, or you can do one thing. It's in minutes, I think. Yeah, that's what it is said. Just check this out. Okay. Otherwise, while creating only, we can pass that for 1 week. This is add week, so that means 1 week is added, and for 1 week it is available. Similarly, you can go for month also, for year also. That's how you can work with. If you don't pass anything, it's going to last forever. Like here we have null, and I'm not going to pass anything for the time being, so this token is not going to expire at any time. Okay, until unless you delete it. So that is what we are going to apply for the time being. There is scheduling option also, you can check it out. We are not going to look into all these things for the time being. Let's keep it simple for you to understand. Now let's get here, and I will go to the Laravel application. In the Laravel application, let's create a controller here. So for creating a controller, what is the command? PHP artisan make controller. Okay, this is the one. Then the controller name here, it's going to be user controller. Then dash dash resource, I'm going to just pass some predefined functions. If you don't want that, you can skip it. What's wrong? Okay, I missed out a P here at the very beginning. So it's gonna be PHP artisan make. Now it's done, and we have the controller file here. Let's work with that now. And also I want to do one more thing. In all the functions here, since we don't need any response to be imported, let me remove it. And everywhere I'm going to change this. Either you can keep it as a small letter one, response function, but I'm going to integrate the JSON one. Let me just show you what I'm talking about. This is how I'm going to do it. So this is what we have as of now, and I'm going to replace it with this particular one. Okay, let's do it everywhere. Okay, so this is how it's going to look like. I think this is a better approach to work with for the time being, unless it get expired or it is not in use. So in most of the cases, what happens is this JSON was not needed, so you can just remove this much of a code and it's going to work same. I've already shown you it works with the response one properly, but still I prefer to do in this particular way, which I have already done now. Let's go to user controller. Well, in which I need to at first import the user model. I will be needing two more things. One is the validator and the other one is the auth one. So this is an auth class which I'm going to use it. Let me comment it for the time being so that I can show you where exactly I'm going to use it. Okay. Now at first let's create a function for the signup one. For the signup, I'll use the store function here, in which I'm going to prepare the validator at first. So like we did for our coupon controller and everywhere, where we use actually in the gift one mainly. So in the gift one, we use this controller validator, right? So I'm going to use the same validator here. We have already imported the validator. Now it's time to work with that. So this is the validator which I have to make, in which I'll have the name, email, phone and password. So the password must be of minimum 8 characters long. Phone number should be minimum and maximum of 10 characters. Then the email should be of type email, and name minimum 3, maximum 100 characters it should have. Okay, that's what I have fixed it here, so you can work in the same manner. Now if you have errors, then I will simply check it here using the fails function and return a response, but this time once again I will return a JSON response like we did earlier. Alright, that's done. So this is how I'm going to respond it with 422 error like we did earlier, and I'm going to throw all the errors. Now if it passes the validators, then we have to check whether there is any existing record or not which matches our email ID or the phone number. Because if it matches any record which has the same email ID or phone number, then we are going to throw an error that the user already registered, right? So let's look into that, how we are going to do that. We are going to do that with the help of a query. So the query is going to be something like this. I have already shown you while searching how we can use or where query, correct? So this is where I'm going to use it. The where function I'm going to use it, and within that I'll pass the query for email and phone number if the request that we are getting from the front end matches the email ID or the phone number. Like this is how we'll get it from the request one. Okay. If it matches, and I'll get only one record. The first function helps us to get only one record. The first record that is matching that. If we get even a single record, that means we have some record available and we don't want to proceed ahead. And if you don't want to proceed ahead, what you need to do is you have to throw an error in this particular way. I'm going to check if query exists, this particular stuff exists, then I'm going to return a response where success will be 0, and I'll throw a message that the account with same email or phone number already exists. Now let's change this to our JSON response. Okay, so this check is also done. Once it passes this, that means we can directly go for the sign up without any issue. And in that case, I will initialize a variable called $input will be equals to all the requests that we are getting from the front end, and then I'm going to modify the password here because we are not going to put plain text of the password. whatever password I'm passing, I need to modify that password with the help of bcrypt, which is installed by default here. So bcrypt, I'm going to pass input and password. Okay, so this is how I'm going to modify it, and it's going to give me a crypted password. So bcrypt is a function that helps us to get that crypted password. If you want to know more about it, you can simply search it on the internet about bcrypt. Okay, this is a library. So this is how you install it, but we don't need to look into that because that is already available. So I'll just show you what exactly it does. Let me just show you this particular part. Okay, so how do we do hashing? Well, hash a password using bcrypt. So this is one way, and you may also use bcrypt helper function directly. So this is how we do hashing of a particular text. Okay, so secret key, whatever is being passed, it's gonna be hashed here and bcrypted using this function. That's how you're going to work with. Okay, so I hope you are clear about it, and it's going to give us a long text which is hard to identify. But if you directly just insert the plain text, whatever password you're passing, which is not a good practice, that is why we are like crypting that, okay, making some jumble up thing which can only be detected with the help of a certain key. So it will be handled by Laravel itself. We don't have to worry about anything. Okay, when we go for the password checking, it's going to check up with the help of the auth function, which I'm going to show you in the login part. Now let's go back to our functionality once again. Let me go back, and where were we? We have okay, we have got all the data with us. Now we can simply create the user with the help of the create function in this particular way, and our user will be created. But creating the user is not enough. We need to create the token and send it to the front end also. Now to create the token, what I'll do, let me define a variable called $token, any name I've given. Then I'll get the user, which will be coming from here, the user data, to which I'll apply a function called create token. And within the create token, I have to pass the name of the token. So here I will directly pass the email, because this name of the token should be a dynamic value, right? That is why it's better to have different token for different person. That is why the email comes into very handy. I'll check, because this is a unique one which we are keeping, right? So I'll just pass this email here. And finally, we are going to send only the plain text. So after creating the token, I am just converting it into a plain text using this plain text token function, and it will return us the plain text here. So finally, once we get the token, I just need to return a response. So let me copy this response to save a little bit of time, because it takes time to text. So finally, I'm going to return a response where I'll just pass return response function, then JSON response I'm going to throw it, in which I will pass this particular stuff. Success will be 1, and I'm going to simply pass just the token. That's it. And success status is 200. That's it. So this is it for our sign up functionality. It's time to work with the login one. Then we are going to check all together each and everything. Or should I check the sign up one first? Let's go for that, because if I go for that, I have to prepare a lot of things in my front end also. Let's do it in one go. That would be better. Let's go for this login functionality now. So what I'll do is, there is no option for the login directly. I have to create a function here. So this is how I'm going to create a function for the login one. I'll get the request from the front end, and I'm going to track that down, work on that now. Now here also, I'll just look for the validation. So in order to look for the validation part, let me just get this stuff here for the validation one. Let's copy the whole thing and scroll down. I'm going to paste it here in the login one. Now I just need the email ID and password here, so I'll remove the other stuff. Okay, now these things you can in fact set one more thing here, that this should be of type string. Okay, so both of them should be a string. That's what you can pass here, anywhere you can pass. Okay, that's also I'm going to check it out here. Even you can do it in the sign up one also. So once the validation is done, I'm going to move ahead. And I don't think I need to check this minimum character one here, because in the sign up one only we need that. So I'll just remove it. Now I need to get the credentials, right? The email ID and the password one. So you have already seen how we have worked with the dollar request one, right? We are getting all the values directly. But I'll show you one more thing, which is this particular one, directly using the request function, because we have already imported this request, so we can use it. Okay, this is how you can do it and get two values. One is the email and the other one is the password in the credential one directly. You can do it one by one also. Let me just explain you that also. Okay, now once that is done, I will check if auth. So auth is used, already imported. I think I have just commented it. Let me just use it again. You can see auth attempt. So it is attempting for authentication part, and this is how you pass it. So this whole array part, I have already passed it here, right? That is why I can simply pass here the credential. But I'll still keep it in a commented way to help you understand this part, okay? And I'll paste it once again. So this array request I have already passed in the credentials, and instead of this, I can pass credentials here, okay? And since this is an if condition, if this is not satisfied, then I'm going to do what? I'm going to return a response, return response. Again, it's going to be a JSON one. Always we are throwing a JSON response where we will pass some data. Along with that, the status will be 401 because you are an unauthorized person if it is not matching. That's what it means. And I'm going to throw a message that unauthorized user. You are an unauthorized user. I think it should be better if I write it. You are an unauthorized user. Okay, great. So this is ready now. If there is any error, I'm checking it up. Great. But if there are no errors and the login credentials is perfectly working, then I'm going to get the user using the user function in this way directly. Okay, this is how we get the user. Fine. So once we get the user, and one more thing, I think I have not imported it, this auth one, otherwise I'll get an error. Let's import it because it's required here for this particular class. Okay, so once I do that up, I want to delete all the existing token for this particular user. And how I can do that up? Well, I can do that with the help of user, then the tokens function, which you have already seen into the documentation of Laravel Sanctum, and then the delete function I'm going to call. Okay, so in this particular way, you can delete all the tokens for this particular user which were existing earlier on before this login, because we are again logging in. That means you are like all the other tokens are not of any use. I'm taking it for a single user at a time. If you want for multiple users, you can play around with this data a little bit more. Okay, but since we are just doing it in a simpler way, I think it's a better approach. Otherwise, you can just remove it and delete the ones which you really want to do. Okay, like get the earlier token for this particular user, or you have you can save the device name and device IMEI number while in the token name. You can do that up instead of the email one. That's another way of doing it. So play around as much as you can. Now finally, I'll create the new token here using the create token function and then converting it into the plain text. So once I do that up, you can do it in one line also. I've just broken it down. Now once that is done, I'll return the response once again. So this is a success response that I'm going to throw. All right, where I'll pass success 1 and token I'm going to pass it up. So once I do that up, our login will be ready. So login is ready, sign up is ready. Let's check this out. I'll go to the front end now, and in the front end we have to do certain stuff in order to work with that, because we haven't made any functionality, just a design part we have created so far. So it's time to work with the on submit functionality now. And we are going to start not with the login one, actually with the sign up one. That's the first thing which we need to look into. So in the sign up, in the functionality here, in the on submit, let's work with that. Now first of all, we need to check whether the form is valid or not, for which I will use an if condition. If form dot valid is not true. Okay, so I'll give a not symbol. Otherwise, you can remove this not symbol and pass here invalid also. Okay, that will also work. But I think checking in this way looks nice. So both ways are fine. Okay, you can follow anyone you want. So if it is not valid, at first I'm going to mark all as touched so that I can see all the errors for each and every input, right? Let's say if I go to sign up and if I click here, I will see all the errors here in the red mark. Okay, so that is the first step which I'm going for. Then I will simply return. I will not go ahead and execute any other functionality here. And if form is valid, then I'm going to go ahead and log my value of the form data in this particular way. Okay, so we'll get the value. Let me just show you. If I just like press it, it is not valid as of now. If I type anything here, let's check it out. What do we get? So still there are errors. This is not a proper email. And here, please enter proper phone number. Great. I'm getting the errors. Since in phone number we have passed tel, so it can take characters also. But in real time scenario, you will get mostly the telephone kind of stuff. The numbers and plus symbol will be there mostly. So I'll just pass a phone number here. Like I'm going to cross lots of digits, for which I can do one thing in the phone number here in the sign up one. Let me just do one thing here. Where are you? Sign up. There you go. I'll pass here min length to be of 10 and max length to be of 10. It's time to check it once again. You can see I'm just trying to pass some more, but it is not taking that. Only 10 characters it is taking, which is good. But if I pass here number, it won't work. Okay, I'm passing here number. If I pass number, it's going to exceed. That's why I'm using it. Hope it's clear with you. Now let's fill up the form with, okay, password at least 8 characters long. Otherwise, if I just miss one and hit on sign up, I'll get this error. Okay. Alright, now the error is gone. Only one error is left, which I'll get rid of in this particular way. Okay, so this is ready. Now if I hit on sign up, let's see what do we get. We will get our data here. Great, we are getting the data. Now we need to perform the sign up functionality. Now how we can do that up? We need to call a function here. Let's go to our sign up ts file and I'm going to call this dot sign up function, which I'm just going to declare it sign up. Now in this function, what am I going to do? I'll do everything within the try catch block, or instead of a try catch block, you can use then and catch also, since it is a single promise that you're working with, right? So what am I going to do is this dot auth service I'm going to call, but I need to inject this service at first. Let's do it here. Private auth service equals to inject, then the auth service I'm going to call here, not like this one. Auth service, it's not coming up. Why? Okay, there is no auth service available. That is why it's not coming up. So I need to create one. Ionic G service. Within our services folder, I'm going to have an auth folder actually. Then within that I'm going to have the auth service. Okay, let's check it now. We will have the auth folder and the auth service within that. Great. Now the import will work nicely. I'll import it. It's done. Once the importing is done, I need to create some functionality also before going ahead, right? So let's jump to the auth service and work with that at first. I need to prepare this data here. Otherwise, it's of no use working with the sign up and login one. Now, first of all, I'm going to create a register function here that will accept the form value. You can even pass email ID and password, phone number, and all the other stuff. Typecasting is very much important, but right now I'm just giving type any and I'm passing all the data altogether. We are going to do everything within the try catch block here. If I get the error, I'm going to throw the error in this way. But in the try block, I'm going to create a constant called data that's going to be equals to, well, I think I don't need to create it. I can directly pass this thing. So because whatever data I'll be getting, I'll directly pass it. I don't need to create and separate everything, because the name and everything is same. I'll create a constant called response here that's going to be equals to await. So I need to use async here. Async last value from, okay, and Within that I have to use the HTTP client. So HTTP client needs to be injected here. Let's inject it here. HTTP client, new way of injecting, right? Even you can pass it in the constructor also. Once again, I'm telling you, there is no harm in doing that. Alright, this last value from is not coming up for import. Why? Because it is already imported. So now I need to work with it. I'll pass this dot http dot post of type any, in which I'll pass the environment dot server URL plus the functionality name. I'm going to pass it as signup, because for each function it's going to be different this time. So you can just name the store to be signup also if you want to. I'm going to show you how I'm going to create it. And finally, I'm going to pass the form value here. That's it. Let me break it down. Now you will be able to see everything properly. So this is the response that I will be getting by hitting this API. Okay. So whatever response I'll be getting, I'll at first log the response and I will be receiving the token, right? So I need to save that token in local storage, means in storage, native storage or local storage, wherever you want to. So once that is saved, I'm going to return the response. Okay, that's what I'm going to do. For saving the token, what we have to do, I have to create a function. Let's say let me call it set user data. This function will be responsible for setting up the token. Now in this particular one, I'm going to get the token. This function will get the token and I will have to use the storage service actually. So again, import storage from storage service. Okay, now how am I going to do that? So this dot storage dot set storage function I'm going to call, in which I need to pass the name of the token. So name of the token directly you can pass in this particular way, or we can pass in our enum. Do we have enum here? Please come. This is our enum which we have created. I'm going to pass a token here, token, and the name of the token will be, let's say, gift shop app user token. That's the name I have given. Okay, now I won't pass any string. Instead I'll pass strings dot token. Okay, and within this I'm going to pass a value which I'll be directly getting it. So token, which I'll be getting it as a parameter, I will save it. So once that is saved, I need to run an observable to use it wherever I want. For that, I'll create a function. Let's say update token. I'm just passing it here. I have to create this function. So update token function, this dot update token function, where I'll simply pass this token. Okay, in this particular way. Let me create this function here, update token, which will accept a token of type string, and I need to create an observable for that. So as you already know as of now how to create a behavior subject, which I'm just going to do once again for the token one. In this way I'm going to use it so that we can use it throughout the application. We won't face any trouble if I use it. Now it is initially null here. Now if I pass it, this dot underscore token dot value, not value, it's going to be next. I don't want to get the value, I want to set it. I'm going to pass token here. Okay, that's it. Now since it is null of type any, we might face some error. No, I don't think, because I've given type any and here type string. That's fine, it's going to work nicely. So this is done. We are setting the token once we register it, and I'm going to call this function here. So this dot update, not update, set user data response question mark dot token. That's how I'm going to get the token data, because we already know that in the backend we have prepared it in such a way that we are going to receive the token and the success one. Now it's time to work with the api.php file, because we need to prepare the route also. So what I need to do is, should I remove it? Let's keep it. Here what am I going to do? At the very top, route colon post. So within the post route, this is not the resource one because I'm not going to use all those things. If you want, you can remove it also. but here I will call it signup, and will call my user controller at this one, okay, but it's not imported, and directly at we cannot use in the latest version, colon class, comma, this is how I have to call the store function. All right, okay, now the errors are gone. So once that is done, let's import it in this particular way. Fine, and we are good to go. You can pass resource also, but we are not using it everywhere, right? For deletion we will have certain different things. I'll just prepare some more queries also, but we are not going to use it. I'm going to use everything separately. And similarly for login also, what I'll do, I'll just paste it and change this to login. We'll change this to login once again, because this is the function which we have created differently, login function, right? And rest is the same. So this is ready, login and sign up functionality. Now in the front end also, we are ready with the registration part. This function is ready. It's time to work with the signup.ts file. .register function I'm going to call, and I'm going to pass the value. So form.value, I'm going to pass it, and there will be .then. So this is the positive response that I'm going to get, where I'll receive some data, okay, and there will be a catch also. So if I receive any error, then what am I going to do? I'm going to at first log the error, then we can show an alert. So in order to show the alert, we need to use alert controller here. Now for the alert controller, there are two ways. One is the inline one, directly I can use the ion alert, but I'm not going to do so because I need to use the same thing in our sign up and for login also. So in the auth service, I'm going to work with that. In the auth service, I will inject the alert controller here. Let's do it. I'll do it here. Okay. So alert controller, in this particular way, I'm going to inject it. Okay, the suggestion is not coming up. Don't need to worry. Import alert controller from @ionic/angular/10 and we are good to go. Now, if you do not know how to work with the alert controller, you can simply check the documentation. I'm just going to pass the functionality directly. So this is how a simple alert function will be created. Alert controller dot create function I'm going to call, where I'm going to pass the header as authentication failed, and a message, whatever message I will get in the parameter from the functionality in the sign up and login page, I'm going to just pass it in the parameter here, and a button of OK. That's gonna be it. Just to display, I'm just going to show it. So once that is done, I'll go to the sign up one again and we'll call this function, this auth service dot. Now you can see all the suggestion is coming up. I'm going to use a show alert function. Now in this, how we get the error? Now in this particular e variable, means the data that we are going to get in the error one, we actually get something called error here, okay, and within that we get the message. Don't worry, I'm going to show you up, but this is how we actually get the data. And if not, if you're sending some your user defined errors, then you can simply prepare the error in such a way that you get this kind of an error. Okay, we'll check that out, don't need to worry. So once that is done, I need to work with the success one. This is the success part, in which I will simply check if data dot success equals to 1, then only I'm going to move ahead. If you can in fact check it strictly also by giving triple equal sign. All right, now I'll call this dot auth service dot. Now I need to navigate to which page? If there is a success, I need to navigate to the home page. And for navigation also, we can use the auth service only, because we need to like pass for the functions for sign up and login also. Let me do it here. Now I'll go to the auth service and inject one more thing here called router in this particular way. So this is imported. These are the imports which I have here. Now once that is imported, what am I going to do? I need to create a function called navigate by URL. So router.navigate by URL does what? It will navigate to this particular URL and replace the existing stack. Say like you have earlier pages, it's going to remove it from the stack. Okay, that's what it does. But again, if you click on the back button, you might get to the earlier page. Sometimes it happens. but this is a better approach to work with the authentication part so that you don't get redirected to the login page once again. Okay, once that is done, let's get back to our sign up page and I'm going to work with it. Navigate by URL function will be called, and let's pass here /home. Okay, because I want to get redirected to the home page. And once that is done, I'm going to reset my form. So form.reset function will be called. Okay, so that it removes all the data from the form itself. But in the else condition, what am I going to do? Say like you have success 0, which we have already seen. We have given that kind of an error. In that case, I'm going to show the alert data.message. Okay, that's what we are going to get. Let's check it out in our backend, what we have done in the user controller for the sign up one. So we have here, we are checking if the user exists, then we are throwing this. So this is how we are going to detect into our front end. So all the errors are tackled up pretty nicely in our case. The only one thing that is left is if I click on this particular button, and at the time this function will get called, but during that time period there is nothing that is happening. If I click, there is also an option that I can click on this button again and again, which is not a good practice. For which what I'll do is I'll create a flag here. Let me just do it, called is sign up will be equals to false initially, and once this function is called, I'm going to set this dot is sign up to be true, and if there is a success, you can in fact do it here also, is sign up equals to false. Okay, but sometimes in alert you might get stuck, which I don't want, so it's better if we pass it here and here. Okay, and in fact in the catch one also we need to pass it. So this is done. So sign up will be false. Now what we exactly need to do in this sign up false, right, and true also. As of now we have done nothing, so I need to work with this button here. For working with this button here, I will pass a condition if sign up is false. I have given a not symbol. So if it is false, then I am going to have this particular button, the one that we have as of now. In the else condition, what am I going to do? I will have the same button. Let's copy and paste it, but there is a condition here. I'll not have any text, I'll have a spinner here, but before that I will not have any click event. And let me pass here an iron spinner. So iron spinner of name Crescent is passed. You can in fact pass a color also here, but let me keep it and check it out. If I click on this, I'm getting the errors. If I try to store some data, let's say I'll create a user called Nikki Thakur. Okay, the same that we just had in the dummy data, right? So any data I'm creating for the phone number. Alright, some dummy data I have created, you can check it out. Now if I hit on sign up, let's see what happens. I'll just hit on sign up and we have an error here. Why? Okay, one more digit will be there. Now it's fine. So you see errors are working properly. Alright, authentication failed. Why is that so? Let's check it out here. What exactly we are getting. So we have an error, and what it says is HTTP failed. Alright, it is saying here that there is a course problem. So if you do not know about course, basically we are trying to access something, from this particular URL, localhost colon 8100, we are sending a request, but this is not getting accepted by the backend because it is saying that you are not a valid link from whom we are going to accept any request. Okay, that's what actually in precise the course means. So we need to allow the control that it can request, for which there was already an option. Let me just show you. I think we have seen, or we must have skipped it in this particular one only, in the Sanctum one only. There we go, this is the one, course and cookies. So this particular one I need to copy and run this command into our backend. Alright, for the course problem, let me hit enter. Once I root it up, I'll get a file within the config one called course, in which do I need to do anything? Next, you should ensure that your application's course configuration is returning access control allowed true header with a value of true. Okay, let's check it here. Everything is fine, I think. Let me try it now if it works or not. So everything is okay here. I'll just hit on clear it up at first. Hit on sign up. Again, we have the same problem. Now it is saying the main error basically lies that there is no header we are passing as of now. Okay, so we need to prepare a header request, and for doing that, let me do one thing. I will create a file actually. Let me create a folder here called Interceptors, folder Interceptors. Okay, this is created, and within that I'm going to have a file which I'm going to name it as token interceptor.ts. Okay, now within this file, well, this is standalone project. We have to work with a file so that we can pass. Actually, I'm going to have a function here, so you can define this particular function in your main.ts file also if you want to. But I think passing it in a file is a better approach. But in an ng modules project, you have to pass a class for that. Okay, I'm going to show you that part also later on in this particular series. At the very end, I'm going to show you. Now here I'm going to export constant called token interceptor. That's going to be equals to a function of this kind. Okay, so this is how we are going to define a function. Within the parameters, what am I going to have? Well, I will have at first request, which will be of type HTTP request. Okay, that's going to be imported, and it's going to be of type any. After that, I'll have one more thing that's going to be the next, and it's going to be HTTP handle function. This is the second one. So once these are passed, it should be of a certain type, means it should return a certain type of data. That's going to be an observable of type HTTP event, and which should be of type any. Okay, now it is giving me an error because I need to return that kind of data only. So let me pass return next function and any value here for the time being, which it will not take. Alright, so now we need to prepare the data. Actually, when we have a token, I'm going to pass it in this token interceptor with the header. Every time whatever token we have after authentication part in the home page and everywhere, we are going to pass that token along with our data in the headers every time, so that we don't have to pass it in our HTTP request all the time. It's going to be passed with the header all the time. That's what it means. So this is an interceptor which will work pretty nicely between the backend and the front end. Okay, so in the front end, this is how we are going to prepare our token interceptor. I hope you know how it works, but if you do not know, I've just given a brief description about it. Alright, so now what am I going to do here is, within this function, I'm going to call my auth service, and I'm going to use the inject function for that. So auth service will be injected here. Okay, all of them are imported nicely. Now, why am I calling the auth service? Because I'm doing the sign up and login part there, right? So I'll get the token there. Once I'm getting the token, I need to fetch the token from there itself only. It's going to be easy for us because we have the observable also there. So a lot of things are available in the auth service. That's what I'm going to do. I have to prepare some more things here. Let's work on that. But I think directly we have this behavior subject which I can directly call, as this is also an observable. So what am I going to do? Return. So I'll remove this functionality. Return auth dot token dot, I'm going to use a pipe here. So instead of subscribing to it, I'm going to use pipe, because subscribing is not a better approach to work with in this particular token interceptor. Now here, what am I going to do? Why I'm using pipe? Because I'm going to call take function here, which is from RxJS, will be imported, and I'm going to take one, which means this function will be called only once whenever called. So it's not going to subscribe to it. Okay, in this particular way, we can avoid memory leaks. Whenever you want this function to be called, it will call once and it will authenticate everything. Now, after take one, I'll pass switch map here, which will again return an observable. That is why I'm using this function. That will take the value of token, okay, that we get from this auth.token. So this is an observable which will return a value. Okay, I'm going to get that within the switch map. So you need to know RxJS a little bit to understand this up. I think I have already explained way back what happens with switch map, merge map. There are lots of things that are available within the RxJS. So if you do not know, I think I should make a separate video on all these functionalities. Later on, I'm going to do that. But for the time being, use switch map so that it returns an observable. And if you don't want to see that, you can just check it out here. What all you can do, this is an observable input. So just hover on it and you will see what exactly it does. Alright, now I'll move ahead and quickly work with it. So it is still giving me an error because I need to return an observable here also. For which I will log the value of token. Okay, I know this might be a little difficult for you to understand because you haven't seen the output here, right? At every step, whichever we have done so far. But this is very important to work with. Now, the next part is very important. So stay focused on this. So I'll prepare an auth request here, which will be equals to request.clone. Okay. And within this clone function, I'm going to pass some options where I'm going to set the headers. So let me call set headers here. You can see options are coming up automatically. So within the set headers, I'm going to set the authorization in this particular way. Okay, authorization. Then this symbol I'm going to use to pass string and append the variable altogether. You can use single quote also, but you have to give the plus symbol to append the token with that. So bearer space, then I have to append the token. In this particular way I can do it. Alright. So this is our header part where I am passing authorization if we have token, otherwise it's going to go empty. Fine. So once I do that up, I think we are good to go. What else I need to do? After this step, I need to return this auth request, but not directly, within the next function in this particular way. So we are returning an observable at the very end. That is why the errors are gone and this function is ready. Now how to use this function? We have just declared a functionality, right? We haven't used it anywhere. So I need to go to main.ts file to use it. In the main.ts file, in the provide HTTP client, I will have here called with interceptors. This is the function that I need to use. It's imported here. Okay. And within this, I'm going to pass my token interceptor function. You cannot pass the class here. You have to do it in this particular way. But it can take, like the name suggests, with interceptor. So it can take multiple functions. That is why we have to pass an array here. Fine. So this is done. Now let's try the sign up one, whether it works or not. So the form is ready. It's time to try it. I'll hit on sign up this time. Again, we get authentication failed. Let me see why. Okay, again the course problem is coming up. Well, let me do one thing. Since we have made the changes in main files, I think I should stop Ionic server and run it again. We'll try that out. And in fact, this one also, I'll just stop it and run it again. Okay, we have some error here. Let me just check it. That's why the problem is coming up. What? Let me check this particular one. Alright, I have not imported it. So mainly the error was coming because of this particular one. Now I think the problem will get solved. Let me just run it again. Using PHP artisan serve, it's running again. So for a silly mistake, you have seen how much we have to do the task. But now what am I going to do? I'm going to comment this interceptor one. I want to see whether without interceptor also it works or not. Okay, so I'm going to run Ionic serve once again. And this form, I need to fill up it once again. So let's try it. It is refreshed now. So the form is ready. It's time to try it. Let me hit on sign up. I'll open this one also. Okay, let's hit it. And still we get an error. But this time the error is different, not the course one. What's the error this time? Unable to call method Sanctum. Why? Plain text token. Have I given some spelling mistake? There is some spelling mistake or not? Let me check it. I think there has to be, and we are getting the errors here properly. Now this is one of the things which I wanted to show you. So whatever error we are getting the error within that, and within the error we are showing the message. That is what it is displaying here. Okay. Now I think I have missed out something. So in the user controller, I think we haven't imported something or what? Okay, now I just check the data here in the users table. The data is inserted, right? It is inserted pretty nicely, but we are not getting the proper response because the token is not created. So mainly the error is within the token here. Alright, this is not a function, this is just directly plain text token. That's the error which I was facing. Let me check it here also. Now here I have passed it properly. So see, just little mistakes if you make, you are going to end up in some trouble. Now what am I going to do here? I'm going to remove this record, and before removing I want to show you that this is the password. We saved a different password, but by hashing it up with the help of Bcrypt, it is creating such a big password for us, right? Just look at it, right? So this is very important if you want to look into or understand it more, how it is broken into different parts, because there is a dot here. So you need to look into the Bcrypt documentation for that, okay? That's gonna be better. If you want a separate video on that, let me know in the comment section. But I think it's very easy to understand. You can check it out. Let me remove it. I'll go to the operations one and empty the table. That's what I'm going to do. All right, it's deleted. Let's get back. Now I think there should not be any error. Let me try it once again. Okay, I'll enter the same data and hit on sign up. This time we are redirected to the home page. So home page is working for us, and if I see the data once again, just check it out. If I hit on browse, I'm getting the data. Okay, I emptied the table. Why it is showing me ID 2? That should not be the case. Okay, I deleted it. I should have truncated it. If I truncate it, now it's going to be fine. So again, I need to like insert the data. I have to sign out, and for that I need to clear the data by going to the application here, application, then I'll go to the local storage where I have this token, and I'm going to remove it. Once I remove it up, if I refresh, okay, I can directly go right now. I have not passed the authentication part here, so it will still work. If I go to the login one from here, okay, directly I can go. Now I'll go to sign up and insert the data once again. Okay, so this is ready. This is our password, and I'm going to hit on the sign up one. This is created pretty nicely actually. I don't want any toast message to show up because we are getting navigated directly, so no need of doing that. And our record is created this time with ID 1, which is working pretty nicely. Okay, so this is done. We have everything ready here. It's time to check what? To pass the auth guard everywhere and work with the sign up functionality also once we complete the logout functionality. So we need to work with all of it in this particular video now. So without token interceptor also it's working nicely, but I want this token interceptor now, because if I have it up I can work with the token auth guards. So let's go to our auth service and create the guards at first, then I'll show you how to use it. So in the auth service, what am I going to do? Now at first here, I need to create a function for fetching the token, for which I'll use this get token function, in which I will at first check the observable value, if there is any value there for the token or not. If there is no value, then I'm going to track down in the storage where the name is in the strings one, string.token. So from that, I'll fetch the value for the particular key and will update the token if there is any value. So actually I need to, okay, no, if there is no value also still I want to update it. All right, but that's not needed I think. So I can keep a check. Yeah, I'll keep a track here. If token exists, then only I'm going to update it. Otherwise it doesn't have a value here, right? So I don't need to do anything. And finally we are going to return the token. That's what I'm going to do. Now I'll just scroll down, and after all this functionality I'm going to create an auth guard. Now what kind of a function I need to create? Let me just show you first. This is how I'm going to create a promise like function, in which I'm going to just return a promise of type boolean, where I'll use a try catch block to fetch the token at first. Once I fetch the token, I'm going to log it. Let's log the value of it. If there is no token, okay, then I'm going to navigate directly to the login page. because by default we will have our home page, and thereon we are going to track this out, and return false. So basically when you are trying to enter the home page, I'm going to apply this guard there, so it's going to check whether you are authenticated or not. If you're not authenticated, that means you don't have any token. If you don't have any token, please go to login and log in with proper credentials to enter this particular route. So we are going to block that route for any unauthenticated user. That's what we are going to do, and we are going to return false. Returning false means you cannot enter. And if there is no such case, that means token exists, then I'm going to allow you to enter. Okay. Now, if there is some error, then also I'm returning true, but you can return false also in this particular case. I think that would be fine. Okay. I think that would be better. Say like our server is not working or something, in that scenario, well, you can return true in some cases, but I think returning false is also fine. Let's not allow the user to enter in any case if it is not authenticated, or any other case happens. Fine, this is done. So once that is done, I need to like allow where to pass this. Actually, I'll go to app.route.ts file, and here I'm going to work with it. So again, I'm going to change the default route to be home, and in the home one, after this children, I will work with can match, because it takes the promise. It works with the promise functionality, and if you are using can activate, then it works with the mostly the observable one. So the main difference between there are two kinds mainly, which are actually the main ones that you use. One is can match and can activate. Okay, there are a lot of things, can activate child also, but these two are main, can activate and can match. So can match, what it does is, this kind of a guard will not allow you to enter the route until and unless it is authenticated, or means the guard functionality is successfully, it is returning true. But in our can activate, you enter the route, and if the functionality returns false, or if it doesn't match, or if you are not authenticated, then after entering it will redirect you. So this is the main difference between the two. In one case you are entering and then you are getting redirected if not authenticated. In the other case, you are not able to enter until unless you are authenticated. So both have their pros and cons, because if you are like if you don't want to wait, you want to see some screen, then can activate is the better approach to work with. If you don't if you want to wait a little bit of time, okay, you can show a loader or something at that point of time, and at that point of time, until unless it is matched or authenticated, it takes a little bit of time, which is almost negligible in most of the cases. But at that point of time, you won't see any screen. It's going to be a blank screen because it's not going to enter that route, right? So I'm going to use here can match because I don't want the route to be accessed in any case. So within this array, we can pass multiple guards. Okay, the first guard that I'm going to use it is a function that I'm going to use it in this particular way. Earlier we used to have a different class for a guard one, but in the current scenario it's easier to work with it. Now here I'll not pass any functionality. Instead I'm going to use await, and I will inject directly the auth service here to access the functionality within that auth service dot. As you can see, all the functions are showing up. I'll use the auth guard here in this particular way, and we are good to go. So this is one of the functionality. If you want to pass another one, you can pass comma and work with it. Okay, so that's how it's going to work. Now I'll show you the execution of it. So what am I going to do? I'll go to application here, and I'm going to this particular token. Let me remove it. If I remove it up and I reload this page, you see I'm getting navigated to the login screen directly, because this auth guard is working for us. And you can see this auth service is getting called, where this auth guard function is called, in which you are getting token as null, right? This null value is showing up. So it's working for us. We have successfully applied the token interceptor into our application, and auth guard is also working. So instead of doing or removing the stuff from the local storage directly, I need to work with the logout function now. So in the auth service, let's work with the logout functionality. I'll have a logout function here, in which what am I going to do? I'm going to remove the storage means the token, I'm going to remove it and will set the token value as null. Then I'm going to navigate to the login page directly. Okay, but this is not it. This is login, logout from device function. I'm going to call this particular name because I want to remove this particular token also from the backend. In order to do that, what I'll do is, because from the login also we are doing that, don't worry, I'll check the login also. But first complete this up because I need to create a route to access or to delete that particular token for this user, and then I'm going to log out from the device. Okay, that's what I'm going to do. That is why I'm maintaining different functions for all these things. Now I'm going to use here async await try catch. Okay, so let me just pass it directly because I have already shown you how to work with all these things. Now I'll have a route called logout, which I'm just going to create in the backend, which will be a get method in which I will get the response and log out the device. Even if I get any error also, I am still logging out from the device, and once you log in again, it's going to be deleted once again. So it's a better approach to work with. Even if you have error, you are logging it out, you're not throwing any error. Fine. So where am I going to use this functionality? Basically, I'm going to use it in the app.html component.html1, in this particular one where it is. Okay, not here, in the TS file only, because we have already passed the functionality already prepared. This is the one, this dot logout, and in the logout one I'll call this dot auth service dot logout functionality. Don't worry, I need to inject it. So let me inject this up quickly. Where are you, injecting part? Please show me up. Let's do it here. I'll inject this auth service, import everything one by one, and we are good to go. Now we can directly use it, right? This is auth, not auth service. Fine. So there we go. Now we can easily work with that, but in the backend we need to perform this functionality, which is actually way easier because I'm going to use only this delete one. That's it. For doing that, let me create a logout function directly where I'll get the authenticated user data. So this is how we get the user data, which one is authenticated. All right, it's going to track by the token, whatever you're passing from the header directly, and it's going to throw all the data of that particular user, like the email ID, phone number, all of it you can get. If you want to fetch a single one, let's say you want to fetch only the ID, okay, you can do it in this particular way. If you want to fetch email, you can do it in this particular way. If you want to fetch all the data, you can pass it in a variable called user or any other variable name and get the data in this particular way. Then I'm going to simply call the delete function and we are good to go. Once you do that up, you can simply return a response. This response one, I'm going to change it like this particular one. All right, this is ready now. There you go. So this is just a thing which we need to do, and in the API.php I need to pass it, otherwise it's not going to work, you know that. But this time, well, I'm not going to pass it directly like the way we did for login and sign up, because this time it has to be done if you are authenticated, then only you can log out. So for doing that, I will use route : group. So I'm going to pass all the routes within this particular group, where I'm going to check with a middleware. You can pass single middleware also by giving arrow symbol, but I'm going to check it in this particular way for a group of routes. So arrow symbol, in which I will check within this array auth : Sanctum, and you have already seen this stuff in the Sanctum documentation. We have to pass it, but not in this particular way. There was a different function. This is for the group one. Now here I can pass a function. Okay, and it's almost ready, right? The error is gone. Let me just show you the documentation here, not this one. This is for the Sanctum one, in which how do we pass the middleware? That's how you pass the middleware, right? But this is for a single route. For a group, you need to pass in the way that I have shown. Hope it's clear to you now. Okay, within this, I'm going to pass the route for the login. And in fact, this gift one also, for fetching the gifts, I'm going to use it up. All these things can be accessed by the admin. We can like throw it. I'll just cut it and insert it as of now here, but no other user except the admin can access it for the time being. We are not tracking that down as of now. You can pass two different routes if you want to, but since in Gift we have like fetching the gifts and all of the stuff, that is why I'm just skipping it here for the time being. Let me work with the logout functionality now. Now the logout functionality is pretty simple, like the one we did for the sign up and everything. Same thing, only just within the route group we have passed it. That's the only difference. Now I'll prepare one for the fetching one also. So let me get the actual data. Let's prepare that quickly. It's not going to take a lot of time. So I'm going to just prepare a single record fetching, how it can be done. So what am I going to do? Where is the show function? This is the one. I'll get the user data like the way I have already explained you, and I'm going to return a response here, JSON response. All right, in this particular way, where I'm going to pass name, email, and phone number, because password and all of the stuff I don't need to work with it. That is why I'm not going to throw that up. It's going to give me created and updated and all the stuff which I don't want. Okay, that's why. So this JSON data is ready. This is what I'm going to fetch it in my front end. Okay, if I call this up, and I'm going to call it in a different function. Let's go for it. Let's do it in our api.php file, and let me pass it here using the gate method. Profile I'm going to name it as, okay, and this is how I'm going to call the show function, logout function. Both of them are ready. The APIs are ready. It's time to try it. So what am I going to do here is, logout one is ready for us. I need to prepare the profile one also. Let's focus on that also quickly. In the auth service, I'm going to create a function. So a simple function before the logout, it's going to be better to create. So I'll create it here, get profile. I'm going to call the profile route using the get parameter here, and we'll return the response. That's the only thing I'm going to do. Where I'm going to call this? In the app.component.ts file, because here we are showing the data in the side menu, right? We need to get that data from the backend directly, right? And also the image one, we are not working with the image so far, so I'm just going to keep the avatar one for the time being. Okay, now let's work with this. So here also, what am I going to do? I'm going to create a function called get profile, where I'm going to fetch the data from the auth service. Okay, and if I'm getting any error, I'm not going to show any error for the time being, means so any message or alert, or you can do that if you want to. Now this function where I need to call in the constructor, but not directly. When the platform is ready, when the application is ready, then only I need to call it up. How we can check that out? Let me just show you. Now for doing that, let me minimize it, and instead of passing directly, I will inject the platform here. So before this, private platform equals to inject platform not coming up, or what? Okay, let me do it myself. Copy it, get to the top, and let me pass it here. Okay, because it will be imported from at ionic/angular/standalone. Once that is done, we can directly use it in the constructor now. Where is my constructor? This is the one. Let's use it here. This dot platform dot ready function I'm going to call, and once this function is ready, means the platform is ready, which means the app is ready or app is loaded up, then I'm going to call the then functionality of it, means the success one, that this is ready. Then I'm going to call the other functionalities which I need to have. Otherwise, it's not going to work in a proper way. So here what I will do is, I will at first call my add all icons. All right. Then I need to get the profile only if user is authenticated, because I need to check that also. Now for doing that, what I'll do is this dot auth service dot token dot, you can use pipe or subscribe, which one you want to use, because this is what we have a promise within that, right? So what I can do is I can subscribe to it, because if there is any change in it, I want to track it down. Okay, because I'll do something here which is very, very important. So in this subscribe one, and there will be no memory leaks here, because this subscription we don't need to cancel it, as this is the initial part of the application. So whenever the app closes, it's going to be closed. I'll pass the next, and within that I'll get the token here, which I'm going to initialize here by passing it in a global variable or property called token, which I'm just going to have. And if this token exists, okay, then I'm going to get the profile. That's what I'm going to do. All right, now this token one, let me have it here. Token of type any will do. Also profile of type any and initialize to an empty object. That's what is going to work for me. And I have already defined what. Yes, I do. Let me remove it. I don't need any dummy data now. Okay. So in the profile one, we are setting the profile data. Everything is ready. I think we should try it now. How will I try it? Let me go for login. So I'll go for login with the email ID and password. So I'm passing this particular password, not the big password. Okay. Now if I hit on login, okay, I have not passed the functionality in the login one. That's pretty bad. Let's work on it quickly. On the submit function, I haven't done anything. Now at first, what am I going to do? In the HTML, I'm just going to prepare the button at first. Okay, which one it is? Not sign up. The login button, I need to prepare it if for loader basically. Okay, so this will be my condition is login. Then I'm going to call this function, sorry, this button. Otherwise, I'm going to call another button which will have a spinner, and I'm going to pass a color also to the spinner. Color will be, let's say, light color one, which is whitish color. That's going to work for us. I'm going to pass the same one for the sign up one also in the HTML one. Okay, so that we can see the color. Might be the problem sometimes. Okay, now this is ready. We need to work with the TS file to get rid of the errors at first. And for getting rid of the error, I'll pass here is login to be set to false initially. Fine, errors are gone. Then in the on submit one, I'm going to check for form validation and will call the login function if the form is valid. Alright, this login function will be same as the sign up function. So there is a slight modification. Let me just show you. This is our function where I'm going to use the auth service. Let me just inject it, then I'm going to explain it. Okay, let's inject it quickly. Private auth service equals to inject auth service. I hope you are getting it, because practice is being great if you're following this series, and if you have followed up till now, it's gonna be a smooth ride for you to do all this task. Okay, I'm pretty sure of it. So login function we haven't created there, but in the login function I'll pass the email ID and the password, and in the return we are going to get the data where I'm going to check if data is a success. Then I'm going to navigate to the home and reset the, just like we did for the sign up one. That's it. And if there is any error, I'm going to track it down. Fine. Now let's prepare this function pretty quickly, because it's not going to take a lot of time, as we have done the hard part, okay, for the registration and everything. After registration only, I will have a login functionality, same as this one. Okay, here this will be login, and it will have email ID and password in this particular way. You can in fact pass a type also of type promise. Let me just fix it, of type promise of type any. Okay, to get rid of any error if you have also. Now this form value will not be there. It's gonna be login, the route, and I'm going to prepare the data here. So what will the data? Basically, I'll create a constant called data where I'm going to pass email ID and password in JSON format, and will pass this data here. That's it. That's what you need to do. Nothing else. Everything else will be the same, I think. Yes, it will be. So there won't be any problem here, and I think we are good to go. We don't need to do anything else. I'm not going to work with the forget password functionality right now. We'll see later on if needed. I think everything is ready. It's time to try it once again. So I filled up the form. Let's check it out whether it works or not. I'll just open it up and see. Okay, I clicked on it and we are redirected to the gift shop application. Now here I'm not getting any data. Why? Let's check it out. Because I'm getting an error here. What's the error says? Alright, too few arguments to function. Okay. I think I made a mistake here in the route one. Let's check it out. Now we have to fix this error, and what I have to do for that, let me go to the, where I'll go to the app.component.html file, and here at first I will give a condition here that I want this app menu only if I have token. Okay, then only I'll just have this app menu and this router one. Let's move it within that. Otherwise, what happens is in the login also, if you just drag it from left to right, it's going to show up the menu. So I don't want that. And in the else condition, I will have a simple router outlet without any ID. Okay, let's have that. All right, still we don't have any data here. Let me check the TS file. Have I made any mistake? All right, I found out the error. Basically, this particular one, it is not having any ID. We are not passing any ID. We are just directly calling this particular function. So this ID, $ID is not required. That is why it is looking for this particular parameter and it's not able to get that. That's the error. See how simple stuff gives us the error. Now if I just try it up, you will see that we fetch the proper data. Now if I go for sign out, it didn't work. Why? I clicked on the sign out, right? Okay, what's wrong here in this sign up one? Is it not working? I'll just log here, log out. Okay, let's try it now. If I click here, check it. Okay, let me remove everything, and if I just click here, well, nothing is happening. Why? What's wrong here? It is saying route is true. Okay, and what am I passing here is, if route is false, then I want to go here, otherwise logout functionality will be called. So actually I reversed the condition. That's why it was not working. Now it's going to work. I'll just log out and we are logged out. If I log in again, let's check it out. This is my password and I'll log in again. We are here and we get the data. So this is working pretty nicely. So that's it. We have come to the end of this video and we have executed lots of things. If I go for summarizing it up, we have designed the login sign up screen. We have seen the authentication part with the help of Laravel Sanctum into our Ionic application. We have seen how to work with the token interceptor. We have also seen the logout functionality and how to fetch a profile by passing the routes in a group where the middleware is being passed. So all these things we have implemented so far and it's working pretty nicely for us. So with this, I'm going to wrap up this video for the day. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know in the comment section how you are liking this series. Also, do share with your friends. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe it. Do check out the courses if you want to learn more. Do check out the templates if you want some quick templates to integrate in your application. And there is a food delivery application complete platform also available. Links are there in the description. Check that out and let me know if you need anything more. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and I'm going to see you in the next one.